In a groundbreaking announcement, WWE and TNA Wrestling have revealed a multi-year partnership that is set to shake up the wrestling world.
And I quote,
WWE and TNA Wrestling today announced a multi-year partnership aimed at creating unprecedented crossover opportunities within WWE and TNA programming for NXT superstars and TNA wrestling stars. The agreement will enable talent to garner additional exposure across key WWE and TNA programming, including weekly flagship shows such as NXT and TNA Impact, select WWE premium live events and TNA pay-per-views, in turn bolstering their in-ring development with exposure to world-class talent and coaching. This Sunday's Genesis event, now featuring NXT branding, will kick off the crossover. While no WWE wrestlers are confirmed yet, it's likely we'll see appearances from NXT superstars rather than full matches. This partnership builds on the success of the 2024 Talent Exchange, paving the way for long-term planning and opening up the intriguing prospect of wrestlers holding titles in opposing companies. So, where might things go from here? The Royal Rumble presents an incredible opportunity for crossover moments. On the knockout side, it seems like a no-brainer to bring in Mickie James. If WWE used everyone on the main roster who isn't injured, they would just barely fill out the match. Everyone loves Royal Rumble returns, and Mickie is by far the biggest name in women's wrestling that's currently active outside of the company. Shout out in the comments any other TNA stars that you would like to appear in either Royal Rumble match. We're starting with cross-branded shows right out of the gate with Genesis, and I think we can expect more of this. We're going to see inter-promotional matches at future events, but I think you can build this to a supercard, and WWE has the perfect event for it already. Worlds Collide. Previously used as an event for WWE's internal brands, it can easily be repurposed for a WWE TNA Supercard. You just need to see the name or logo saying WWE TNA Worlds Collide to instantly grasp what the show is about. Having this deal would allow you to carefully build stories to culminate here, giving it a genuinely big feel, rather than it just being a bunch of matches randomly featuring wrestlers from each side just because it's time for this show. This kind of event would have been unthinkable until very recently. A WWE TNA Supercard is a dream come true, and Worlds Collide would be the perfect stage. Repurposing it as a crossover event with story-driven interpromotional matches would make it a marquee event, standing out as one of the biggest wrestling shows of the year. In NXT, the women's division is absolutely stacked, while the men's is a bit more threadbare. In the immediate future, it seems to make most sense for me to have the direction of travel be mainly NXT women going over to TNA, especially to challenge for the Knockouts Tag Team Championship, and TNA men going over to NXT. Either of the Hardys would be considered a huge match in NXT, whilst Nick Nemeth can not only be presented as a world champion in each company, but also specifically a former NXT champion. If I were booking things, Nemeth would be a near permanent presence around the TNA and NXT titles over the next few years, elevating everyone involved. Possibly the most wanted person back in NXT would be Joe Hendry. He set WWE's social media accounts on fire with his appearances in NXT, so it seems pretty likely WWE would want him crossing over again. That could possibly be with a championship around his waist this time, as he has a world title match against Nick Nemeth at Genesis. Should he prevail there, it would certainly give a different dynamic when he shows back up on NXT. Probably the most wanted thing of all, though, would be for AJ Styles to cross the line and go back to TNA for one final match. Last year, at the start of the NXT TNA partnership, Styles did express hope that he'd be able to go back in response to a suggested match with Leon Slater. I would say that, hopefully, something like that happens. It's good for not only the talent in WWE to go to TNA and TNA to come to WWE, but it's better for the younger talent to get into the ring with some people who have different styles. It's very important that we're well-rounded, and you can't do that all in NXT. So the fact that we're going to be able to do that somewhere else is great. At just 20 years old, Slater is exactly the sort of talent who could stand to benefit the most from this partnership, and the endgame for WWE would surely be to eventually acquire wrestlers like him, having helped to develop him and giving them exposure to the WWE style before coming in will help the transition immeasurably. This partnership opens the door to so many exciting possibilities, and I can't wait to see what it gives us, starting at Genesis.